Hi friends, welcome back to my blog, Size Findings. This blog is a little bit different as I have a little presentation for you talking about social media and technology as well as its long-term effects. This is an ongoing debate on whether or not social media and technology plays a big part in young children's and adults' social, not only social, but mental and emotional health. This is an ongoing debate that's been going on. We're going to go into depth about certain sources that I viewed, going to depth about those sources and how I feel about this topic and whether or not if I believe if social media does affect young adults and children's emotional and mental health. So let's get started. One of the sources I looked at is called Plugged In, which is a documentary that touches on the deadly consequences of teens using social media, how society has been darkened, how young adults and children think about what they're doing or what they're not doing that revolves around their social media and what they put on those platforms, and how rates of depression and anxiety increased by 70%. Now, the documentary itself is broken up into a few chapters or topics. One of them specifically is how or what social media does and its effects of social media. The first on what social media does is it maintains attention. And if you think about it, it 100% maintains attention. As we are always looking at our phones and as we're curious to know of the next person's post or what's going on around us in the world, whether it's political, whether it's local, whether it's about our friends, whether it's drama, anything you name it, it definitely grasps our attention and we're like looking for more. Throughout the documentary, there's an important person that actually talks about how bad social media is and how it could be possibly following up our next bullet point, designed to provoke negativity. There are many ways that I believe that social media can provoke negativity. For example, there's false news. That's one way that social media provokes negativity, is being misinformed. Another way that it could provoke negativity is the fact that if somebody posts something that they're sad, or a quote of something that's sad, they could be seen as somebody who's purposely looking for attention other than, wow, this person might actually be sad. Let me see if this person needs help, or if I can talk to this person, get this person some closure of some sort. Social media also promotes emotional violence, where we can be harsh to one another, or if we don't agree with one another's post or comment, we might say something in return. It's also a platform for hate speech. As we know, cyberbullying is one of the main reasons why I believe it affects young children and adults, and even everyone around, including ourselves, how it affects our mental and emotional state. When people have the freedom to just write and type whatever they want and not get any type of consequence out of it. It's also exposing yourself to harm, 100%. The moment we open that social media platform, the moment we create a profile for this platform, we are now exposing ourselves to harm. We don't know what's going to come to us. We don't know who's going to say what. We don't know what we're going to get out of our creativity or what we post. And it could be very overwhelming. It also, and leading to its effects, as it affects your brain, your central nervous system, the dopamine reward system, and perception of reality. Perception of reality is extremely important, as a lot of people don't see reality the way they do, or they have a different reality from social media to their outside reality, and how sometimes it could be two different lives that they're living in. Or in other words, as in the documentary said, living in a matrix. One of the other sources that I looked into is called Schools Say No to Cell Phones in Class, but Is It a Smart Move? By Allison Klee. Basically discussing how allowing students to spend so much time on their devices, they are feeding an addiction and stunning students' development of face-to-face communication skills, which is true, as sometimes having our cell phones in the classroom, we can be distracted easily on the lesson and the topic of the day. So their solution is to remove cell phones out of the classrooms completely. However, many teachers like to use some cell phone-based applications in class, which is why it's not necessarily ideal to completely take away children's cell phones or just technologies from the classroom overall. I have a quote or a phrase here that says, "Have a plan, not a ban," that is in the article that I read, in this article specifically. And I really enjoy that, and it really pops out to me because you need to have a plan and not a ban. You do not want to remove technology or take that away from the child. As I've spoke about this in an old blog post about social media, about technology into the classroom, we don't want to strip it away, as we have to revolve and around the technology's growth and the children's growth, especially their generation. They're going to continue to be wrapped in technology. There's really no doubt about it, and we can't just fully take it away. And we have to find ways to really incorporate both technology and regular lessons in a pro-educational way. And removing that is definitely, I feel like, it's going to cause more disruption in the young children and adults, especially in the classroom, and with their attention spans. I feel like technology also plays a big part in the classroom, but in an educational way, which is obviously something that I'm doing now, as I'm using technology as a way to educate you all. However, I am not using it in an abusive manner or in a way that I feel distracted. Another article that I looked into is called "Chicago Public Schools is Monitoring Students' Social Media for Worrisome Behavior." So this is basically going into detail about how monitoring students' social media posts for signs that they might engage in violence on campus or harm themselves in school. I could see, and the reason why I specifically chose this article is to also counterattack, or to counter or to go with my previous article on how we shouldn't strip away technology, and I don't think we should invade in the technology or privacy, as I have in the last two bullet points. However, we have a program that's called Supporting Our Students, and it's a program that a lot of districts use, and they pay contractors for social media monitoring. However, software spying is no substitute to the student support, and this can backfire and make students more distrustful, 100%, especially if we're going to talk about how social media affects their emotional and mental health. We shouldn't invade that or try to declare or assume what a student posts or says online. Although it's important, and whether or not it could be a threat or a serious harm to the child, I definitely believe that it's not okay to invade that privacy and monitor what these children post, as I believe that if it does come to a certain extent, they will speak up, or if it becomes really big on a platform, even the higher ups and the principals and teachers will eventually know about it. Social media is a big platform. It definitely spreads around and gets everywhere. I believe what children see and what young adults see is also what actual adults and teachers see as well. So this can be a potential overruling or controlling within the students, and like said in the last point, that it can make them become distrustful. And we want to support the children. We want them to come to us, not steer away from us, especially when it comes to technology, and we know how important, how powerful it is. We don't want to push them away. My last source is The Scientific Debate Over Teens, Screens, and Mental Health by Anya Comentes. And this one specifically has a small, short kind of podcast, as well as with the reading. And it talks about how specifically girls and young women are reported being depressed and anxious, and how nearly every teen using a smartphone digital media must take some of the blame for worsening mental health. However, the article does state that some researchers argue this theory, which is hard for me to believe because cyberbullying is one of the main reasons or main causes of young children's and adults' mental and emotional health. So I don't understand how smartphones and being, being involved in that type of platform or society cannot worsen their mental health, especially in the classroom. One of the things that the article had stated was Amy Orben, the lead author of each paper and psychologist at Oxford University, says the team found that the actual negative relationship between teens' mental health and technology use is tiny, which once again I find that very hard to believe, as there are so many reasons why technology and social media can be such a negative impact on students in the classroom as well as their overall lives and mental state. One thing that stuck out to me the most with this article is that during the podcast, the young girl that's 14 years old that the family was concerned about because she was glued to her phone too much, that they had to cut down her phone or they tried to take it away. She explains how when she's upset or when anyone is upset, the phone can distract and help you. Which, in a way, it's understandable, but I don't think it's ideal. We shouldn't try to be distracted from what we're upset from. This is when communication plays a big part, and we cannot accept that, okay, well, when you're upset and you're sad, okay, well, here's your phone. It's kind of like toddlers or babies when they cry, and our first result is to give them a phone or a pacifier or an iPad. That's kind of reciprocating or contradicting their feelings and not letting them fully express it. So I don't fully agree with that, and that for me, that kind of was a full explanation on how social media affects a young child's and adult's emotional and mental health right off the bat. All right, and now lastly, do I think that social media and technology is destroying our society? 100% I do. Cyberbullying is one of the main reasons why it destroys our society, because of what people say, what people do, what people represent, what people portray, everything. And if people are glued to social media, they're going to be glued to that type of lifestyle. They're going to be glued to that type of expectations. One thing that the girl said in the article, the little podcast of the article that I just finished talking about, she says how taking away, which is taking away the technology, taking it away won't eliminate the problem because it's not the sole reason why it existed in the first place. Okay, understandable, because making presentation slides and showing you guys an educational way of social media and technology isn't the sole reason why we have problems, but social media is, and technology is what started social media. So in a way, it does. And how her mother was scared about suicide and how it affects their mental health, and how she says I don't understand why iPhones are looked at as it's the only reason when it's also outside stress. Well, there it is. Social media and other platforms causes outside stress besides school, besides any face-to-face encounters that they have outside of social media. Now, what I will finish off on, if the intent is good, it will go away, how it started in the Plugged In documentary. The thing is, it will never go away because there's only going to be that certain amount of people that intent on the good and everybody else that intends on the bad. And there's really no sole resolution to the corruption of social media. It's just going to keep progressing, and it's going to be up to us educators and other people who are very well informed and exactly kind of like these documentaries to inform us on the truth of social media and how much it can really affect us. I believe that social media plays a big part in our lives and everyday society and kind of makes us choose how we're going to do things based on what we see on social media. And I just hope that you guys took what I was able to show and express and absorb it, and you guys are able to express it to everyone else, and to understand that social media is dangerous, and to just be mindful and careful, especially in the classroom.